Mary Magdalene is revered for her compassionate love for Jesus.
I think Jesus meant everything to Mary.
She was present at the crucifixion, and most importantly, she was present at the resurrection. She's the first person to whom Jesus appears after his resurrection.
Do not weep, nor grieve, nor be irresolute, for his grace will protect you.
Yet when it comes to the details of Mary's life, the Bible says very little. The New Testament mentions her just 12 times.
Mary Magdalene is remarkable. There are so few mentions of her in the Gospels, but they're so central to the story of Jesus, and they've filled our imagination for centuries.
In reality, many of our ideas about Mary are no more than myth. Perhaps the most enduring one is that she is a fallen woman, a prostitute saved by Jesus from a life of sin.
She's very often seen as an extremely seductive, erotically charged woman.
2,000 years on, it has become hard to separate legend from fact in the story of her life. Who was Mary, really? Where do these myths come from? And what is the truth about her relationship with Jesus? The myth that Mary was actually a prostitute stems from one key event described in the Gospel of Luke.
Let's set the scene. Jesus has been invited to lunch at the house of Simon the Pharisee.
And a woman in the city, who was a sinner, having learned that he was eating in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster jar of ointment. The Bible describes how a sinner, someone believed to be a prostitute, comes to visit Jesus.
Get away! Get away! Go away from me! The fact that Jesus allows this woman to just walk in and anoint his feet and touch him is the big deal. He can't possibly be a prophet or a messianic figure. He'd never allow a person like this to touch him.
To those present, it's a shocking provocation. But what's perhaps even more surprising is how Jesus responds.
The disciples are outraged. When Jesus rebukes them, he says that no, forgiveness is accessible to her too. She brings ointment that she uses on his feet, and she cries and then wipes his feet and dries them with her own hair, sort of a symbol of penitence and forgiveness.
The Bible never names this fallen woman, but a myth begins to grow that the sinner in this important story is Mary herself.
The idea of Mary Magdalene, the prostitute who repented, gives us a character who shows by her penitence that everybody can make it into the kingdom of heaven.
All four of the canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, tell a story in which a woman comes to Jesus and anoints his feet with expensive perfume. Not one gospel of the four canonical Gospels identifies that woman as Mary Magdalene.
How then did Mary's name come to be wrongly associated with this famous episode from the New Testament? The answer, it seems, can be found 5 centuries later with this man, Pope Gregory the Great.
The reason why people think that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute is because in the 6th century, Gregory the Great gave a homily in which he equated Mary Magdalene with the sinful woman who anointed Jesus' feet. And since that day, Christians thereafter have thought that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute.
I think Pope St. Gregory the Great was not trying to be mean to Mary Magdalene or women. I think it was probably the result of poor scholarship.
By the time time we get to Gregory the Great, we not only have a collection of 4 Gospels that circulate together, we have a tradition that says it's okay to blend these stories together.
It is from this mistake that the image of Mary Magdalene as a sinful prostitute emerges. It is a myth that has concealed the reality behind why she became so devoted to Jesus and played a central part in his life and resurrection. Instead, the truth is far more disturbing. According to the New Testament, Mary is possessed by demons, and it is Jesus who saves her.
Finding Jesus, Faith, Fact, Forgery is sponsored by Christian Mingle. Find the person you are meant to